My name is Max Stein, and I love golden rings.
I'm the Megabuck. I really love video games.
And my name is Raph, and I gotta go fast.
And welcome to the Game Treasure Podcast. Not for children or people with brains, where we talk treasured video games of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. In fact, today we'll be talking about all three of those segments of time because we are talking about the world's most miraculously, beyond all comprehension of how this is possible, beloved blue fast-running hedgehog. Millions of people enjoy the idea of a bipedal, talking, sassy, fast-running hedgehog named Sonic.
I mean,
No treat.
Chili dog slamming. What other obscure things does Sonic do?
Is Sonic truly the triple point of gaming? Like, is it the convergence of every time period all at once? You know,
He certainly spans the decades in a funnier way than Mario has.
right.
Let's put it
yeah,
that way.
Yeah. I like that.
He's
That's
pretty
a good way
much
to
like
put it.
you said before, like the memes that come out of
Right.
the, let's see, between the years of 2008 and 2018, basically all of the Sonic stuff in their time
Sanic.
of terrible
Sanic, yeah.
decision making. It's a game franchise that just has such a funny, I don't know, a funny oeuvre to it. I don't know how else the way to explain it. Like Mario is so well protected,
Yeah.
and like Buck was saying before, like Sonic's dad is in jail. Like,
Well,
think
he
about
got
that,
out on
you know
good
what I mean?
behavior.
Like,
He got out
the
on good behavior.
he got out in Japanese jail on good behavior, but it's like people over at Nintendo would never. They're like, break the law. Why would I ever do that? We have so much. You know what I mean?
They're
He's
all
just
Boy
like, I can break
Scouts.
the law
We're
a little
good
tiny bit.
people.
I can do a little bit of law breaking. It's Sonic, baby.
You know, it's just
Um,
Sonic and Shrek are responsible for the modern meme landscape. You know,
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's it.
Honestly,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
very strange,
Yeah,
and
it
we'll
is
get
weird.
into
Yeah.
it now.
Yeah.
Let's see where to even begin. Oh yeah, we've got some video game news.
Speaking of Nintendo, right?
This is the first episode we've done since the Nintendo trailer for the Nintendo Switch 2 officially dropped. So they were tired of all the leaks, and they
I was
said, like,
gonna say-
fine, we will leak ourselves.
I think
Jiminy
Nintendo
Christmas.
had peer pressure. There was a lot of peer pressure going on.
Oh yeah, for sure. Apparently Walmart had tweeted "Hello Mario" the day before, and this is
fucked up.
Everybody
God
was
damn it.
just pushing them to release it already.
So, real quick rundown of some of the cool specs that just get shown to you without any words or
Mhm.
anyone talking. It appears to be larger, about, I don't know, maybe 15 to 20% larger or something.
Sounds about right.
It seems like it's a lot more Steam Deck sized.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But thinner.
Pretty good.
Still thinner.
It has magnetic Joy-Cons instead of slidey Joy-Cons, which is okay, I don't know. Is that a better design? Is there a reason? Does anybody?
Supposedly, I read somewhere that this is something that they're using to combat Joy-Con drift, and I don't know how it works. I don't know what I don't know how the technology works. I don't understand it. It doesn't seem to make any sense to me. The way my stupid brain thinks is magnets computer break if magnet nearby.
Computer
No,
break
not
magnet.
anymore.
Mm.
You're thinking of older mechanical hard drives that
True.
actually physically spun. That's not as much of an
fantastic.
issue anymore, and that's why so many of these things use magnets now. It's not
Makes
as
no
big.
sense.
That makes sense. Yeah.
There is a much more robust kickstand. It seems it's goes across the entire length of the Switch.
It's more of a
and
bar.
You don't have to have
girthy.
it got real thick.
Got real
And
thick and girthy.
you don't have to have a Coke finger to pull it out anymore. You don't have to. I was like, do you have to?
You say
have to
that
have-
like a joke, but it's kind of true.
No, I
have to have-
legitimately
you
was
have-
struggling with it this weekend. Honestly, trying to get
you
that
have to
damn
have
thing
an
out.
everyday carry knife on you in
Yeah.
order to pull the fucking stand out on the Switch. It's outrageous and
have a
unacceptable.
combat knife specifically for pulling out the kickstand on the Switch.
Yes. It has mysterious third shoulder buttons on it.
Oh, I did
I
not
haven't
see
seen
those.
that.
See
Yeah,
that?
I
Little
haven't seen
tiny
that.
ones on the back.
Mm.
And they're
Interesting.
look like those little programmable ones you see on a lot of controllers nowadays.
I'll avoid the rumors because I don't really know much about anything. else.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And then finally, people are speculating that there's a sensor in the Joy-Cons on the inside. And when I say inside, I mean the side that points in towards the console, to where you could potentially, I guess, put the Joy-Con on its side and use it like a mouse.
I've heard that too.
Yeah,
I've heard that one too. I'll
All
tell you
right.
what did happen. An eagle-eyed viewer noticed that in the Mario Kart leak show off, that was part of the video. They showed the new Mario Kart, that at the start-finish line, there are 24 grid slots.
Interesting.
Big races.
Which is
huge.
way more than, that's more than, isn't it only like 12 or 18 in Mario Kart 8?
12th place is the last place you can get in Mario Kart 8.
Yeah.
So
and people are up in arms that they used the Mario movie design of Donkey Kong rather than the traditional Donkey Kong design of Donkey Kong.
Did you see that, Raph?
No, I didn't. No.
Donkey Kong looks different. I'll put it that way.
It's like the older, fuzzier, like Donkey Kong Jr. looking Donkey Kong.
He's got like rounder,
like more
rounded
cartoony head
eyes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
More
it looks
fur
like
rather than
yeah.
Seth
Right,
Rogen.
yeah.
But either way,
I'm sorry. Have you guys seen the price point on this thing yet?
they haven't actually showed that off, so everything you've seen is speculation.
Oh, okay. Because I thought I saw something today. It was $4.99 is what I heard.
That's everything you've seen is speculation because Nintendo hasn't put
okay.
any of that out yet.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's going to be less than that. I bet you that's a bundle.
Interesting.
I'm hoping for $3.99.
I heard
that's the most I would like to
$4.49
play for this.
and then $4.99 for the Mario Kart bundle. That's what I had heard, but that might just again straight up be rumors. But yeah, I mean,
either which way, I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Nothing about it made me go like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everything was really like, oh cool, yeah, that's pretty much a Switch but better.
If it's got backwards compatibility,
it
does.
Switch
Play
that
Switch
is,
One games.
Yep.
Trying to copy Steam. Thank goodness.
Right,
Thank goodness.
smart.
Microsoft, take notes. Don't fuck this up.
Right, exactly.
There's one fun side note to this too. This is the first time in Nintendo's console history that they have not radically redesigned their controller when releasing a new console.
Yes. Thank you for reminding. You sent that picture in our Discord, and I was like, oh shit, wow, he's right. I was
NES
like,
to SNES, then to N64, then to GameCube, then to Wii, and on the Wii U they added the gamepad thing when they did that, and
now they're just like, actually, since we climbed to the ranks of the highest selling console ever pretty quickly, we're gonna run that one back again, but make it a little bit bigger. Let's fucking go. And we're going to put a USB-C port at the bottom of it so you can put it into a regular ass display that you can get on Amazon for pretty cheap.
Hell yeah.
It looks dope. I want to get one as soon as possible. As soon as they come out, I'll
say this year.
That's a day one buy. And it's probably officially too late to sell my Switch now, right? It's now the price is going to be fucked.
Well, it's the highest selling console of all time. I don't think there was, a ginormous demand to get your Switch.
Yeah,
if that's true.
Just keep and enjoy your Switch and then get a Switch too.
Hell yeah, I needed to get new Joy-Cons anyhow. They are so bad. So I was like, well, God, I don't know. I'll just put this in the scrap heap, I guess. I can smelt this down and turn it into, I don't know, a lance that I can use to rob the GameStop or something.
And that's how you got to Switch too.
And that's how I got my Switch too. Okay, well, anybody else got anything else to say about the Switch too, other than you want to get it?
We'll see how it goes.
We're gonna get it. All right. Well, hey, let's take a quick break and then come back and begin talking about this chili dog slamming, fast running, ring collecting, lady kissing, werewolf turning, sword swinging, gun shooting hedgehog that we call Sonic. We'll be right back. Gotta go fast, gentlemen. What does it mean to you to go fast?
That means to cut corners and not do as good as the other guys.
I posit to you, chili dogs. What a surreal video game franchise doing the research for this and just being like, I mean, obviously the story of Sega is kind of like pretty surreal, like topsy-turvy, and just like, God, what a botch, what a crazy thing, what a Japanese business that kind of like totally fucked the video game market with post Dreamcast, basically the last hurrah. Which so funny, Dreamcast beloved, like in the cult, like such a cult console, like people that played it with the VMU and all these things. loves Sega, and intrinsically tied with Sega is the gentleman we're talking about today, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, I thought you meant Sega Sanshiro.
Coming, what was the what was the game you showed us last week, Buck? The cute 'em up.
Fantasy Zone with
Fantasy
the Opa
Zone,
Opa.
taking the spot of the Opa Opa.
Kind of, sort of.
A blue hedgehog with attitude. I'm not going to get too knee deep into the spawning of Sonic, but I'll say this: Sonic the Hedgehog, the game, was first created in 1991 for the Sega Genesis by Yuji Naka, Naoto Oshima, and Hirokazu Yasuhara. AKA, these three gentlemen were Sega's famous / infamous Sonic team. If you don't play Sonic, you might still know these guys because they also are known for making beloved games, including Nights into Dreams and Phantasy Star Online.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They become, in 1990, when they spawn, like an integral part of Sega's R&D 2 division. So they are... This is the in Nintendo, you've got people like the same team making like F-Zero, Metroid, the Mario games, and then over at Sega, they've got fucking these guys making the Sonic games, and like I said, a couple other cult bangers. So Sonic's 1, 2, and 3 for the Sega Genesis. This is a trilogy of games that we are going to spend some time on right now. We are going to turn it over to our in-game historian, the Megabuck, as we discuss the 16 and 32-bit Sonic video games. Buck,
and
tell
Knuckles.
Me a little bit about Sonic and Knuckles and
Don't
Tails.
Forget and Knuckles. Our
Yes.
our first DLC game ever, Sonic and Knuckles, right?
Yeah. Our highest ranking short by views. Just talking about Sonic and Knuckles and how it worked, and people were like, "Oh, I didn't know how it worked."
It's an incredible fact.
It's really
honestly.
funny.
Blew my mind, honestly.
Understanding how it works.
Yeah.
Here's your fun fact. Would you like to know Sonic's code name when he was in early development?
Yes, I would.
Sonic's original name that
Yes.
you'd never guess because it's really stupid.
Schwartz. I'm gonna guess Franklin or Debbie.
Red
Sonic's
Rocket.
original name was Mr. Needlemouse.
Whoa! Now, I'm saying
as far
this
as
is
code
developed by
names go.
Japanese guys, so it's Mr. Needlemouse. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Hey, as far as
No.
code names go,
All right.
it's pretty badass. I
So
like
tell
it.
me about Sonic the Hedgehog. Buck, you were a fully sentient, cognizant human being at the time of Sonic the Hedgehog's release. We had a Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
What was it like?
I was a preteen, which meant I wanted nothing more than to be cool, which meant
And
Sonic
I
was
still wanna be
important
cool.
because Sonic was the cool mascot.
this is might be redundant for people who are familiar with video
No.
games, but you cannot stress enough
Sonic's
how
the cool
literal
one.
we're saying when it was like he was pitched as being cool.
They
as,
even
like
came
in
up
the
with-
counter to Mario's lame.
Absolutely. They even came up with fake technologically branded marketing ploys such as blast processing, which didn't actually exist, just to make us
you can't
feel
prove
like
it did not exist.
we
No,
were
I'm just
playing
kidding.
the cooler game. How cool was Sonic? Well, if Mario had one cartoon show, Sonic had 2 cartoon shows.
One of which is voiced by Urkel.
Nope.
No.
Both of them were voiced by
Oh,
Jaleel White.
Nope, he said-
White.
There were 2 Sonic the Hedgehog cartoons. They aired at the same time. The second one started 2 weeks after the first one, and Jaleel White did Sonic's voice in both of them.
That is
Wait, just
fantastic.
hold on one fucking second.
Wow.
Jaleel, you're telling me
How
Jaleel
90s
White,
is that? Yeah, Urkel.
Jaleel White played. Did he play?
If you
Sonic?
go back and
He played
watch
Sonic.
Sonic the Hedgehog
His
back
voice-
in the
yeah,
90s,
he's
this
voiced
is
by
what he sounds like.
Man, all right.
Did
all
I
right.
eat chili
You know,
dogs?
spoiler alert,
One
it's
of the
better than
cartoons
Nathan
was
Drake voice
the
he's got doing.
comedic. One of them was the comedic. Did I, eat chili dogs like Mac just
Yeah,
referenced?
yeah.
And the other one was the more serious, post-apocalyptic
where
Robotnik
he's,
rules
like,
over everything.
part of a rogue group of terrorists, basically, like Final Fantasy
Yeah.
VII.
One
Yeah.
of them was serialized and ran for a lot of episodes, and the other one was Saturday morning cartoon only and only ran for like 1 season. But I shit you not, they were on the air. I had to go check and fact check myself on this. They were on the air at the same time, made by different production companies, but Jaleel White did the voice
really funny.
Damn, that's when Jaleel was getting work, man.
Oh yeah,
goddamn right.
Sure.
So,
but if you're a kid that's in his teenage years or preteen years, and it's you're into video games, which not everybody was back then, right? It's Max right. You had games like Street Fighter that came out on both consoles, right? Mm-hmm. But who had the cooler, more violent with blood Mortal Kombat?
right.
Genesis did with the first one, and then put out Eternal Champions, which was kind of violent too. But then they had other games like Street Fighter where it wasn't as good on the Genesis just because Genesis controllers sucked.
Right.
Until they put out the 6-button controller. Right. And so when it was cooler and faster and everything about him was, I ended up being a Sega CD kid because they really hooked me on the, welcome to the next level. This thing's bad as shit.
Oh my God. And we're going to talk about the Sega CD foray of Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying that Sonic has always been capable of cutting with all that edge?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay.
Since the very beginning. Beginning.
That was his origin story, is cutting with edge.
Edgy as fuck.
What was it? Pointy Needle Man?
The original edgelord, Mr. Needle Mouse.
Mr. Needle Mouse. That's amazing. Yeah. So Mr. Needle Mouse 1 is a Sega Genesis. No. Okay. So let's talk about those games, and mostly I'm interested in how they play, because you might not have played any of these original Sonic games, and you might hear that they're good. What are they like? Okay, so if I were to describe to you Mario in a nutshell, the answer is like pretty slow platforming, power-ups, a cast of characters that repeats in every game for the most part, enemy-wise. Sonic, a little bit different, right? The premise obviously is like he's fast, and so the levels have to be longer in order to make a level that feels about the same length as a Mario level, in which you have to travel 2 times the speed or whatever. I'm just going to point out the elephant in the room. Okay, if you've ever played a Sonic game, this is what is wrong with it. You will be going fast, and then you will hit something, and you will come to a literal screeching halt
and complete stop.
120 miles per hour to 0 as you hit a wall, hit a batch of spikes, hit an enemy, whatever it is. And I've never watched a speed run for Sonic the Hedgehog. I guess I probably should have, in anticipation of this, to like watch somebody actually go fast.
Yeah.
Don't know how many times you would need to play the levels to do that, to replay the levels, I should say. And in these first 3 Sonic the Hedgehogs, you are not especially incentivized to redo these levels with anything other than scoring. It's just like you run through the levels to see how fast you can go, and you get a higher grade at the end, depending on how many rings you collect / how fast you did it. But I don't really give a fuck. So I would never run the levels enough times to actually be able to do them fast. It always seemed like the gameplay consisted of just barely finishing them, basically. You know what I mean? Every time, if not doing well. So it was just like, I don't know. There was never going back and being like, I got really good at this one so I could nail it. Why?
Honestly, I think the developers did intend for that to be the reason. I think they wanted you to want to get that S score and play it multiple times. I've heard this from other people that are big Sonic fans, that they just, eventually after multiple playthroughs, you get to memorize these levels and you can actually zip through them the way Sonic is intended to. But maybe just we're not the ones that are looking for those S scores,
Spoilers, later when I'm going to expound on Sonic Adventures, the incentive that they give you is that you unlock items.
Right.
That will, if you redo the levels, unlock different areas of those levels to explore.
I was just going to say, none of you kids ever went for the Chaos Emeralds? We're just talking about beating them, huh? Got to get Super Sonic. You got to turn into Gold Sonic. Got to get all the Chaos Emeralds.
Hold on a second.
I've never done that. What is that?
Right. Is that a thing in the old Sonics?
Yeah, that started in Sonic 2. Started in number 2. And you remember you had those bonus levels that were the like running down like the slalom almost kind of thing, like the half pipe kind of thing.
Okay.
So you had to pass a checkpoint with 50 or more rings, and then you could warp to the special stage. And then if you could get all the Chaos Emeralds, then you could turn into that gold Sonic that could like fly and all kinds of other crazy wacky stuff.
Super Saiyan Sonic.
Yeah,
Super
Sonic
Saiyan
3 had that as well.
In the side-scrolling version, right? You wouldn't just turn
2
Super
and 3.
Saiyan in that in the tube.
Right. You turned it in the levels, yeah.
I had no idea
honestly,
that was
I've
in
never
those.
done that, and I don't remember seeing you do that.
That was a challenge, and I've done it only a handful of times because that was a challenge in and of itself. Because in those games, I don't think there was a way to replay the levels. So if you messed it up,
start the whole game over.
Interesting.
Yeah, especially in Sonic 2. I'm not sure about Sonic 3, but especially in Sonic 2. 2 is one of my favorite Sonic games ever. You know,
Sonic 2 is arguably one of the
Sonic
best games.
Sonic 2 is like
of all time.
I never even had a Genesis, and even I know that game is
that shit whoops
ass.
You know what? We oh gosh, that just reminded me that inadvertently reminded me of a point, like that mode that Buck is talking about, where you're in this like different perspective slalom thing.
Yeah.
And then isn't there another one where it's like a top down and you're doing like the cardinal directions?
That's in Sonic 3.
That's Sonic 3. So
where you
like,
have to turn the orbs blue and you jump over the red ones. You turn them red and then you have to jump over them and don't collect them. Yeah.
So this is like the start of a theme that I think is going to run through this whole thing, which is Sonic games have always tried to, well, not always, but starting from 2, seem to try to insert alternate gameplay into their games, which is a thing that I think Sega is actually well versed at.
Yeah,
like the Persona team, the Yakuza games. These games are really good at putting little games inside of their games. Sonic included does this, which Mario really does not until like more of the open world ones, maybe. But even then, it's really not. They don't completely like. You're not like playing like Mario Odyssey and then all of a sudden you have to play a kart racer real quick. You know what I mean? Like you're just kind of just playing Mario Odyssey and different things. But Sonic from 2, Buck, you reminded me of that, has always sort of done this weird thing and tried to like do as much as possible to be cool. Just to like have like, and then there's a part where you go into a different perspective and it's 3D and you're trying to collect these things and
and then you're underwater and you have to get a bubble, then you're going to drown, and it makes Brad have PTSD that he thinks he's going to die underwater.
I think it makes most people have PTSD. I will insert the sound effect right here. If you're driving your car trying to careen off the road, make sure you're driving. Oh my God, don't hit that person. Oh my God. So
stressed out right now.
That was the sound of Sonic drowning. But speaking of sounds from Sonic, this is another theme that runs through the Sonic franchise, which is Sonic has always had such good music. It's crazy. Buck was mentioning before this recording started how Yuji Naka before he went to jail
or got
after?
Sentenced to something when he started to go a little crazy.
He got a little like, you know what? If I'm going down, people are going down with me. And he basically leaked like, yeah, Michael Jackson helped us make the music.
It was always a rumor.
2 and 3.
But number 3,
Eat my ass. Because when you listen to it, God damn, this game has some of these games have some of the best video game music of all time. Let me play for you
consistently too
the classic, the very first original Green Hill Zone from Sonic the Hedgehog. Absolutely iconic. Every bit as iconic as Mario's theme to me as a gamer.
I've never heard another game with music like this from this era.
If you know anything about city pop, which is a genre of music from Japan that is heavily inspired by electric funk music, you would know that basically every Sonic song from this era is just a Yellow Submarine or whatever that band is called song. Like it's just like the funkiest, most digital, just most offbeat tempo, good shit ever. Oh,
I could almost hear.
There we go.
That's some city pop right there, dude. Gonna date myself here, but when I was in middle school, I was in the computer club after school. which is also the video game club.
Let's fucking go.
And they had a Genesis and a Sega CD. Evie wants to be on the table right now.
Cute.
They had a Genesis and a Sega CD in that club. And I remember being like, I'm going to wait my turn to play like, Sonic and Streets of Rage and Sonic CD. And I just remember being like, nah, I'll just listen to the music. I'm cool with just listening to the music.
Yeah,
want to
dude,
hear
that's
this
awesome.
over and over again. Oh.
We have a couple other songs from that era. Buck asked for Casino Night Zone. This is from Sonic 2.
Yes. I don't know. I'm not familiar with this one. Oh, shit. Okay.
I can hear the boing, boing, boing. The Sega Genesis has such a specific, like, twangy crunchiness to it.
I can hear it in the brassiness of this song.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
And then I wanted to play my personal. This is one of my favorite.
Let's do it.
Video game songs of all time. I might tear up just listening to it because I just enjoy listening to good art, and that is Chemical Plant Zone from Sonic 2.
That bass.
This song is incredibly good.
You know that meme, especially right now, that's popular? That's like all the guys in like that 70s like club, like they're dancing like really fast and something.
It's like when this one comes on.
You can overlay almost any Sonic 1, 2, or 3 song to that, and it's the guys.
Oh my god, it's so fucking good. Dude.
That's a good track.
Wait.
That's a good pick.
Holy shit! Whoa! That shit's, man, hard. That sting is so gnarly.
I feel like I wear like a red leather jacket. And just like,
wait, and then it builds.
It's like a theremin.
It's incredible. It's one of the best. It's right up there with a lot of the, like several of the songs from Mega Man X.
So
like
good.
as far as chiptune songs that aren't
Yes.
modern, like it's just so fucking good.
Agreed.
I literally, it makes me want to cry because I'm just
so
like, I love when
crunchy.
stuff is really good. Like when art is just like, let's actually make a good song for this video game
I
instead
love
of
when
just
stuff
like
is really
doop,
good.
doop, 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 doop. Not to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But just like, man,
It's
the
true.
composition of this is just
Yeah.
like incredibly.
It's like when you listen to.
It's energy. It's just
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
energetic immediately.
It's-
This is the
it's-
first one.
It's not just energetic, it's like emotion inducing. It's
Right,
like Koji
exactly.
Kondo's early Zelda
Yes.
stuff. Like when you hear
Yes.
do 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 do, you're
Right.
like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, what's
Yeah.
next? And
I mean, a lot of video games at the time kind of like I don't want to say phoned it in, but like this, like they put in work. This is well composed. It's fucking
there
god.
were a lot of
it's
technical
accurate.
limitations, and so when we talk about like
course.
what Tim Fallon did
course.
on the NES,
Right.
if you weren't a good composer and creative with the tech,
Right.
there was only so far you could go.
Right.
And look at what they
Because
did.
it might just be a shot in the dark that it's just like, it literally is just like, I didn't look it up. I should have, but like whoever did the music is just like spot on. You mean, you killed it. Like I said, it's city pop influenced, and you clearly took into consideration the sounds you could make with that board instead of just saying like, I'll make a one that sounds like an A and then followed by a G. Like I don't know, just like the sound effects, synthesizer. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Masato Nakamura did the music, by the way, for the
Thank
earlier
you.
Sonic games.
One last early Sonic game that I wanted to talk about is the Sonic CD classic. Buck, can you? Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Can you? But before I play the song, will you prelude for what Sonic CD is?
Sonic CD was an all-original, time-traveling Sonic the Hedgehog game. The game that introduced Metal Sonic.
My favorite Sonic character, arguably.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Really cool design. If you don't know who he is, he's got a giant jet hole like in his stomach, and he's got beady red eyes, and he looks cool as hell.
If there was anything that Sega CD games did well, it was build you up before you even hit the start button.
Whoa.
That's fucking right. And that is the perfect segue into, I'm just going to play the titular track of Sonic CD, Sonic Boom. Raph, this song, prepare to have your ass blown apart.
Oh.
So good.
Take a chance, 'cause there is no circumstance that you can't handle. When you use your mind, Sonic Boom, Sonic Boom, Sonic Boom keeps you running. Sonic Boom, Sonic Boom, Sonic Boom, planning on disaster.
Yo.
Gosh damn.
It's a supersonic.
So I got a question. Has there been a notable animeification of Sonic? Because this is very anime.
Yes, I'm so glad you mentioned that. I didn't write any notes on this, but I don't know if you've been watching or listening to How Did This Get Played, but they actually recently did a cover, like a watch along of that Sonic OVA.
Okay.
Which is specifically set in the Sonic CD world because the main villain is Metal Sonic. And it's,
not to mention that there's a slightly newer Sonic cartoon called Sonic Boom.
I had the VHS
I got some stuff
of that OVA because it got released. It was a 2-part series in Japan, but then they got released in America as a 50-minute long movie, and I had that shit growing up. And that's why I love Metal Sonic, because that movie fucking whoops ass. And that song whoops ass.
Yeah, no, that's fucking awesome. When the lyrics came in, I just like, what?
I know.
Like,
I know that's like the thing that once again they're like, man, like we're gonna do the music so much more energy than Mario. Like, let's have a lady singing, like just saying Sonic Boom, Sonic Boom, Sonic Boom.
Like, I probably spent almost as much time watching the intro to that game as I did actually playing.
It's so fucking incredible.
But it was like Lunar. It was like the opening to the first Lunar game, and you just like.
So let's move on in the legacy of Sonic the Hedgehog to 1998. Sonic Team releases the first fully 3D Sonic game for the Sega Dreamcast. And that is Sonic Adventures.
Let's go. So
I'm going to go ahead and also group in here history-wise, because there are very few changes in gameplay that Sonic Team, in all capital letters LTD, or I'm sorry, Sonic Team, as in 2 words, gets split at this moment in time into Sonic Team, all capital letters, which is used it used to be R&D group number 8 in Sega's like corporate structure. So this is like the Japanese arm of Sonic, and then a team gets created here, Sonic Team, 2 separate words, USA, which is a American subsidiary of Sonic Team. And they, in 2001, the American arm of Sonic Team makes the meme-ified Goldmine, the fucking cult classic, like hilarious for reasons that it doesn't understand, Sonic Adventure 2. And then later it comes out for the GameCube and is called Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
No treat?
So Raph, you have not played this game, but you said you watched someone play it. So before I go in, what is your exposure to Sonic Adventure?
My ex-girlfriend was really into this game. All throughout when we were in high school, she used to play it a lot, and the main thing that I remember about this game is that my ex was really into the chows, and that's like really the only thing that was really stuck out in my mind about this. That and like the incredibly edgy voice acting and characters. But yeah, basically the chows, man. That's what stuck out for me.
Edgy voice acting is doing a lot of heavy lifting in Raph's description. I would call the voice acting absolutely god awful. It is, it's charming in a Lynchian sort of way. Rest in peace, David Lynch. By the way, that happened since our last episode. It makes me very sad. Yeah, I downloaded recently. I played this game when it came out. I played Sonic Adventure and I played 2 Battle for the GameCube, and I also rebought it on Steam just a couple weeks ago to play it. And
yeah, about that,
I still love it. It's it was hard as fuck to play it. I won't get into that, but it launches its own client, and then it was just like it doesn't recognize like any controller past the year 1992.
Oh, good, because I still got my Mad Catz player little brother controller.
Like, okay, so it is hard to summarize these 2 games other than so Mario has successfully jumped into the 3D world, like very successfully, right? And Sonic hasn't done so. The Sonic team has been making other games for the Dreamcast no, not for the Dreamcast, but they've been making
Saturn.
Other games.
They made Sonic R, Saturn, the racing game.
So it's like, all right, it's a big deal. And then it's like, okay, so if you've ever played it, it's very cinematic with its camera angles, much more cinematic in nature than like Super Mario 64. Like the first level of Sonic Adventure, famous, you're running with the killer whales. If you were alive at this point in time, you remember seeing this and being like, whoa, and you hit a ramp and it does a jump, and then the camera completely switches its angles and you see Sonic come flying through the,
and you're not controlling your character whatsoever.
You're not controlling. It's all trying to once again, the theme, it's trying to be cool.
Right,
and the camera is trying to do cool shit to make you go like, whoa, Sonic is fucking doing crazy. In the very first level, you like grab onto the side of a rocket and like, whoa, and like shoot into space. It's fucking ridiculous. It's so funny. It's not the best game control wise. I'll tell you this. I would much rather play Mario 64 as if I'm going to play a game for its controls. Because again, this is unfortunate. They can't. It's hard to crack that code of having a game where you feel fast, but also it's not like so. You know what I mean? Like you're just like constantly fucking up and hitting stuff. So you want to feel fast, but you just can't quite get it.
Or you can't control your character at all. You're just watching him do aerial things.
Yeah, and in Sonic Adventure and Adventure 2, there are moments where you do loop-de-loops in like every level. And it's like Buck said, like where there's moments where you're like, wait, should I and like if you keep pressing forward, the camera will switch and it'll fuck up. Like if you just hold forward to go through a loop-de-loop expecting you to just like turn into tank controls suddenly when it shows the loop-de-loop and then flip back to perspective controls, it doesn't. And you'll just like end up hitting the wall to your right. But then if you don't touch the controller at all, you'll slow down 3/4 of the way through the loop-de-loop and then lose all that speed anyhow. So it's just like, I don't know what to think about this, but one thing that this game does good that the Sonic Legacy, as we mentioned, does well, which is has alternate types of gameplay in it. Specifically in Sonic Adventure 2 that I played recently, I like kind of forgot that when you play as Sonic, obviously you've got platforming, you've got racing to the end of the level, but when you play as Knuckles, his levels are like scavenger hunts. So it's like you're in like a decently sized open world level, and there's like shards of the Chaos Emeralds scattered about it. And Knuckles can glide and can climb on walls, which he has always been able to do. And so it's just like you just kind of, as fast as you can, try to find these things, but there's no rush necessarily. And then when you play as Tails or Robotnik, because you can play as like good guys or bad guys in this game, you go through
the cat, whatever. Who do you want to be? You can have it.
Well, when you play as those guys, they have like rail shooter mechanics in their platformer. So they have like a mechanic where you hold down a button and then you target people one at a time. So you're trying to get as many people as you can before you release this button and shoot rockets into the air. So different modes of gameplay is my overarching premise here, and it's a thing where. Like I said, I replayed it and went, oh, yeah, they really like that over at Sonic, don't they? They like varied modes of gameplay. Oh, yeah, that's kind of like a Sega thing, isn't it? That's interesting. Yeah. I guess it is it warrants some love in that regard, beyond all the absolutely god-awful storyline and fucking voice acting. I would like to listen to some of the amazing music from this game.
Let's
So
do it.
funny story.
Well, I'm excited. I
played this game. I got it, and I was like, okay, so Sonic 3 is out right now as of this episode releasing.
The movie.
I want to, the movie. I want to play the shadow parts so I can talk about this, right? So I picked the villain's storyline to play first because you get an option right from the beginning. You want to play heroes or villains. You play the villain's storyline. It starts you as Dr. Robotnik in the mecha suit that he has that's like a rail shooter, and it fucking sucks. It fucking sucks shit, and it's boring and sucks. And then you get to be Shadow, but the first thing you do with him is fight a boss, and that sucks because the controls and camera angles for the boss are absolutely awful, and you're struggling fighting the camera the entire time. I'm sipping my whiskey so that I can tell you that I said, fuck this. I'm going to go play a Sonic. And I was treated to one of the most amazing first levels in any video game ever. I had forgotten.
It's true.
It's Green Hill Zone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Classic,
in
right?
3D.
I wager you the first level of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is one of the best Sonic levels ever. It involves you racing downhill in San Francisco to this fucking rocking track. Do you hear this? Do you hear how good this is?
Wait for the hook. Wait for the hook.
Dude, I was so happy that I decided to switch over. I was like, oh man, I forgot that this game is really fucking awesome and I love Sonic the Hedgehog. This level crescendos. It ends with you running with the camera facing Sonic's face, and you are running downhill as fast as you can from a massive semi-truck that just says gun in huge letters on the top of it, and it is just plowing through all of the incoming traffic of San Francisco, just absolutely decimating everybody. It's fantastic. I'm hesitant to say these games are worth a replay, but I'll tell you this: as cult classics, I still like them for the reasons I liked them back then, which is they have awesome music. They're bad to the degree that they are good. The chows, as Raph mentioned, there's a mini game where you raise little guys in these games, and it is absolutely incredible. It has this amazing song in the lobby.
Ooh, damn.
This is the crazy most jungle beat electronic music.
This is the most Dreamcast online music I've ever heard.
I found out that sample of that person saying "Wake up, wake up!" It's like from some like reggae song from the 70s that they like sped up, and it was just like they could have just done like doop doop boop boop boop. Like they didn't have to do wake up, wake up.
Yes, we did.
That song was almost sexy.
Every single Knuckles level has a custom rap song that accompanies it. In the level where everything is Halloween and pumpkin based, for example, you get to hear this song where a guy raps about being Knuckles in that level.
I ain't gonna let it get to me. I'm just gonna creep down in Pumpkin Hill. I got to find my lost piece.
That's the level you're in.
That is here. I can sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see a thing, but it's around somewhere. I'm gonna hold my head because I have no fear. This probably seems crazy. A ghost tried to approach
my balls are scary.
A ghost tried to approach me, and I got scary. That's what you in the level you encounter ghosts. So that every level that happens, there's custom music for it.
They also threw in the emotion of the gray Chaos Emerald, which they started to try to like someone must have read Infinity Gauntlet. And like they tried to throw emotions onto the Chaos Emeralds in those Sonic Adventure games.
Interesting.
So that is my summarization of these fantastic 3D monstrosities. If you haven't played them, you don't have to. But if you did play them, don't worry, they're still funny. All right, so then we do a cut from 2017. I'm sorry, from 2008 to 2018, where Sonic Team USA is merged back into Sonic Team because Sega has fucked up. They have just made a bunch of mistakes, and they're out of the hardware game. Yeah, they really goof them up bad. And this decade sees the worst Sonic games ever made, arguably.
Do you have a list of them?
Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 is the one where he kisses the lady.
Oh,
There's the werewolf one where you can turn into a werewolf.
Yeah.
Shadow the Hedgehog is the one where Shadow has the M16 and he loads the gun like a shotgun.
hell yeah.
Sonic Boom got its own game that apparently people just absolutely hated. And then there's a game that's just called Sonic and the Black Knight. I don't even know what to say. Like, it's just like terrible. Yeah.
And Sonic 4 also. Sonic 4 was not.
Yeah. Sonic 4 was the one where they tried to like do the Mega Man reboot thing where they're like, okay, 2D, but the old graphics. And it was just like, no, it didn't work. Nobody liked it.
Yeah, they didn't do it.
I didn't play any of the games in this era. They're basically just meme fodder. It was incredibly dark times for Sonic. And then this is 2017. There's a little tiny window of light in the form of two games. Well, Sonic Forces and Sonic Mania. So Sonic Forces is a game where you can make your own OC to play Sonic games, which if you know anything about Sonic, you'd know that people really like doing that.
Original
character.
Making
an original character. But more importantly, Sonic Mania, the second game that I mentioned, is made by a guy named Christian Whitehead. It's just an indie game that is like basically made in part by Sega, like with their blessing. And wouldn't you know it, when someone returned to form to Sonic, oh shit, everyone loved it. Like it's an indie darling. And I would like to add, it's got some incredible remakes of those classic Sonic songs. I'm going to play the Green Hill Zone remake. All the extra instrumentals.
I didn't even hear about this game. That's wild.
Here it is. Here it is. Adding jazz or funk drums in there. Go figure. So Sonic Mania is a 2D Sonic game that is just amazing pixel art, and it just whoops ass. It's on Xbox Game Pass if you have it. If you haven't played it and you have Game Pass, go fucking play it because it's honestly the best Sonic 2D Sonic there is.
I promised I wouldn't do it a lot, but when this episode airs, I'm going to be knee deep in MagFest, and it's a Sonic themed year.
Hell yeah.
And T. Lopes, the composer of this game's music, is one of the musical guests. Yeah. And I will be going to his set for sure. He also did Shredder's Revenge and Metal Slug Tactics. So
nice.
Really good. Yeah. So that game's great. It plays just like a Sonic, but better, I guess, because the designs of the levels are designed with a not person from 1990.
It was a labor of love, the way that they created it.
Yeah. So, all right, final cut. Our final leg of the Sonic legacy here is 2022 and 2023 see the releases of Sonic Frontiers and Sonic Superstars. So Sonic Superstars is that they redesigned, made Sonic super cute. That's the one that's gotten the shadow bonus thing for it. I think that Generations. My point is they've diverged these two plots now. It's like, okay, so we're giving you your classic Sonic, but now also we're doing a little something different called Sonic Frontiers. This is so if I wrote much like Sonic Adventure felt like a busted Walmart version of Super Mario 64, Sonic Frontiers feels like a busted Walmart version of Bowser's Fury.
Oh no.
So if you played Bowser's Fury, that's the open world Mario in which they make the different sections of open world feel like levels, even though they aren't segmented off.
Oh, kind of like how Breath of the Wild broke them into mini dungeons.
I was going to say
this. In those mini dungeons, you have to enter them. So imagine if you didn't enter them. Imagine if the sections of the world were just sort of
you
Natural
There's
have
levels
kept.
inside of Frontiers. There's like
so
levels.
Frontiers, basically the way it works is you have an open world map, and you have to roam around the map, finding you're basically fighting bosses, fighting enemies. You find these keys, and then with these keys you can unlock the vaults. And the way you find the keys or get the keys is by going into these little pillars that have portals that throw you into essentially an entirely separate game.
Right, like a little speedrun level, and then you can redo the level if you want to try it again, because the levels are like 1 to 3 minutes long.
Right.
They're not very long.
Yeah. I think I threw you a song. I don't know if you had it on the ready, but I threw you a song from one of the levels that just had me like really hyped up because I had to play it 100 times to get S rank. It's like this crazy EDM. Like, it's not quite the same, but there's something really like, I don't know.
I tell you what was cool.
Sorry. No. It leans into this weird. If you've ever seen it online,
yeah,
it has this incredibly realistic art style.
Sort of.
For Sonic.
Sort of.
Well,
Except for Sonic.
I would hope so. God, don't make a realistic-looking Sonic. Somebody already
Never
tried
again,
that.
please.
That movie.
Never again.
So the environments are incredibly realistic, and they have this incredibly serious butt rock edge music going through like the whole thing. Like all of the boss battles have like this like chunky like.
It is not even just like butt rock. It's like I'm hearing like some Bring Me the Horizon, like Black Dahlia Murder. There's like straight up like metal in this game.
Yeah, that's good. It's very strange.
You know, this game, the way I described it was that it's if you took Breath of the Wild, combined it with something like Shadow of the Colossus for the boss fights, and then you threw Sonic into the mix, and then you made it a little bit anime. Because we were talking about the animeification of Sonic, and like there's straight up some like an anime ass like villain that's in this, and the combat feels very, very fast and anime. Dude, I will say, you were talking about how like some of these levels in like the older 3D games, how they don't get the 3D exactly right, especially when you're doing the loop-to-loops, camera pans out. I think this game got it down because that felt really good. Yeah, the traversal feels really good in this game. You can keep holding forward, and when the camera comes back, you're still going forward. You're not going to fly into a wall or anything like that.
Yeah, people like that a lot. And the bosses are really interesting too. The bosses almost feel like bullet hell shooters.
Yes,
like encapsulated in little areas.
They're these strange
it sold really well. I mean, it was the best selling, not that it's a great mark, but it's the best selling Sonic 3D game, basically, like just shy of 4 million, I think, give or take, dollars, which is pretty good. I mean, it's nothing close to like, you know, the original Sonic the Hedgehog at like $15 million or Sonic 2.
It got released on more consoles, you know, than those other 3D Sonics.
It was. I think it's a step in the right direction for the 3D world, the way they did it. I think
that was going to basically be my overall question: is how do you feel? Because this is basically where we're at the Sonic.
I will say. I think that where this game shines is traversal and boss fights. I think the main combat that you have with the smaller enemies is a little bit on the boring side because you're basically just mashing attack buttons. And then most enemies die in like one hit. Yeah, honestly.
That's what most of the reviews said.
And then the boss fights, though, the boss fights are really cool. Like the first boss that you fight is this giant towering robot that you actually have to physically climb its hand at full speed, just run up the damn thing, jump up to the top, and then hit these pillars on its arms until they break. And it starts firing like these projectiles at you that when you hit them, these rings make you go faster. But then it starts throwing projectiles, like a mix of projectiles that make you go faster, and then some that slow you down.
I think you would like Frontiers, Mac. I think there's a lot of things in it that you would enjoy.
Yeah, I definitely, traversal like that I said it before, like traversal is my favorite part of this. There's nothing that feels better than like having all like 400 rings, you know, maxed out in your rings, so you're running at full speed, and man, you are just zipping, dude. You are like everything's whizzing past you
by your rings,
yeah if you're maxed on your rings, you're running full speed.
Interesting. Okay, that's nice.
Next time it goes on sale, I think I'm gonna pick it up because I missed it twice now and I want to play it on the Steam Deck.
It's fun. I honestly, like, I would give it maybe it's not a 9 out of 10. But it's definitely like a 6 or a 7. It's definitely a 6 or a 7.
We love our solid 7s.
Yeah, I think it's a solid 7, honestly. It's definitely worth paying. Like, you know, like there's a certain degree of the combat's a little boring and the gameplay loop is not perfect. But I will say there's one really cool thing, that one of the challenges that you do in the vaults is a side-scrolling Sonic map. Like it feels, I think it's basically as Green Hill Zone. And like one of the first ones that you do is like you're running from, it's from behind and you're running on a set track, kind of like the old school like 3D games. It's good,
Cool. That's cool.
That's cool.
I dig
Well,
it.
I hope that Sonic is in good hands. The movies are crushing it. It's a worldwide phenomena.
Always has been.
Always has been. Sonic, stay fucking cool. I think that does it for our I'm Sonic'd out. I played Sonic Adventure 2 for too long to return it, but that's okay because I'm going to play it for that fucking Chow Garden.
It's funny.
It's that fucking good.
Nice.
All right, gentlemen, let's go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we will do our What Else You Got and end our episode. Okay, guys, what else have you got for me this week? The section of our show where we can bring anything to the table, be it video game or otherwise. I'll go first. Don't have a new thing, but I finally watched the only Paul Verhoeven movie that I hadn't seen yet. That's right.
Yeah.
Me and the boys,
Yeah.
just me and my 4 male friends, all above the age of 30, got together and had a little dudes night and watched Basic Instinct.
This is like the horniest movie I've ever seen.
The
in my
horniest,
life.
yeah. I'm about to say I had to get up and do a little boner check every couple of minutes, make sure nobody's too boner-fied up.
We each sat on our own separate couches.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, dude.
1992, Paul Verhoeven, one of my favorite directors of all time. Yeah, fucking RoboCop is one of the most well-paced movies I've ever seen. Ever.
Total
And then
Recall, man.
Good
Total
stuff.
Recall is just one of the best movies ever. It's
my-
so
one of my
fucking
favorites.
entertaining and good. So I was just like, I was listening to a podcast about Total Recall, and then I realized in that, oh shit, Paul Verhoeven made Basic Instinct. I've never seen that movie.
Oh, wow.
And I hear you get to see Sharon Stone's coochie in that film. Turns out, yes, you do. And it is shocking. It would,
It really was.
So
You never seen one
let's
from that
see.
angle before, right?
Let me just go through my notes so as not to meander. Let's see. I finally understand all of the cultural references about how hot Sharon Stone is in that movie because she's a total
She's
babe.
gorgeous.
Sure.
It has a scene in the very beginning of it. If you haven't seen it, I will not spoil it, but it made 5 grown men go, "Oh, oh
We
my
all screamed.
God,
Yeah.
oh Jesus!" Immediately it
Hand over
happened.
my
We
mouth
all were like,
screaming.
"Oh, gee, oh my God!" So that was cool. That was
Fun.
very Paul Verhoeven. And that scene does a really good job basically setting a tone for the rest of the movie because then
Yeah.
basically at that point they do that sort of setup a bunch of other times and you're just always going like, oh my God, don't do it again. Don't fucking do it again. So that's really fun. All the cinematography, obviously I know that's not Paul Verhoeven's doing, but I'm saying the camera movement, I guess, all the blocking in it, which is his doing, is fantastic. Like his movies always have sweeping cameras, which is just like, I remember in school, like having a film professor be like, what is the point of having a motion picture if your pictures aren't in motion? So just like make your camera move, makes the, you know what I mean?
Well, the very
So-
famous interrogation scene where she shows her coochie, like that's actually really great. Like
it's really good.
ooh, the camera's constantly doing that.
Yeah, it is. And then my final note is Michael Douglas is not sexy enough for this movie. Get the fuck out of here. Just
Oh.
get somebody else in here. Michael Douglas.
You didn't
is
like
so
that
Needed-
tight
fucking-
needed
little
like
ass?
Kurt Douglas.
No, he's so fuck. Well, yeah, actually, maybe that's a good idea. Michael Douglas is just so fucking ugly. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck if he
So
was
funny.
like a hunk at this time.
He's
He's
built
got
like
that
a triangle.
He's got that fucking corporate slicked back hair and his fucking like big notched nose, and he's just got like gross leathery skin, and he's just fucking so hideous. And I don't know, it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, women think that men get more attractive as they get older. And it's just like, this guy's a fucking old. Sharon Stone is such a babe. This guy's so fucking ugly.
You're fucking
All right,
goon.
sorry. I couldn't help myself. I had to say it. Okay, that's what I had.
He
this
needs a
week.
movie podcast
It
too.
was I really do. I was thinking about starting one. Raph, or I'm sorry, Buck, what else have you got for us this week? I went out of order.
Well, we are going to be knee deep in Sonic music, so I'll save you some of that because by the airing of this, I will be halfway through MagFest up in National Harbor, Maryland, which is a Sonic theme this year and complete with swag that looks like a chili dog. So we will have to set aside some time in next week's episode for me to do my MagFest recap.
Hell yeah.
Get you some video and other fun stuff for that next week's one.
Absolutely.
There was a Like a Dragon Pirate in Hawaii Direct this past week where they showed off a bunch of gameplay.
Okay. And
including straight up Assassin's Creed Black Flag naval pirate combat.
Nice.
It's like literally your boat versus their boats. Let's go.
Hell yeah.
That looks super duper cool. And I beat Metaphor Refantasio.
Oh,
wow, congratulations.
Damn.
What do you what do you think?
It was
what
great.
Would you give it out of 10, I guess?
I would give it a 9 out of 10.
Wow.
That's good.
It
That's
was
pretty good.
better than any other Persona I played just because of, like I mentioned before, so much less gatekeeping, so much less Persona gatekeeping.
Right.
Yeah.
But more importantly, it is a very traditional medieval magic knights storyline, which I like that a whole lot more than the modern day
High school
demon
kids,
and
yeah.
kids with guns and shit
Right.
like that. So
Yeah.
that was a lot more fun.
Hell yeah.
I might piss some people off by saying this, but I still think it had recency bias, and I liked Infinite Wealth more, just a little bit
Okay.
more.
That's fair.
But you know
Just
what? You
not
can
much,
say that
just a little
because
bit.
you have beaten both. So you can
I
say, you
did.
know what?
I
know.
put 80 hours into Metaphor Refantasio and just slightly more than that into Infinite Wealth.
Fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic. Congratulations, Raph. What else have you got for us this week?
Honestly, I didn't do much this week, but last night we actually went to an event near us, that AFK event where it was a big indie showcase where they had a bunch of indie developers from Orlando showing off some of their games, and we got to play
Cool.
a few old games. Mac and I had an amazing game with Tecmo Bowl last night.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, dude, that shit was
a
intense.
3-point
It was-
differential there. The
Yeah, dude, yeah, it
Denver
was real
Broncos
close.
versus the Cleveland Browns.
We got to play this
Good
really
match.
cool arc.
That's
it was
right.
like-
Indie games in 2025, just Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah,
No,
we
it's-
played Tecmo.
Well, they had a bunch.
No,
they had
yeah.
a bunch of the
I know, I'm
mini
just playing.
consoles, but
Just playing.
no,
Right.
we played this game actually that was developed
That,
by a lady from Full Sail. It was a Highlight arcade cabinet.
Throwback.
Like
Throwback.
that shit a
Mhm.
lot.
She
It
was
really
there.
fun.
They've been working on that for years now, and it was originally called Highlight Heroes, and they
Yes.
eventually came to the realization that not many people know what Highlight
Highlight.
is, let alone how
Right.
to pronounce it.
Right.
right.
And I think Throwback is a great name.
That's
it was
actually a
throwback
really
with an
good name.
undertitle of
Yeah.
of Highlight
Highlight
Heroes, which
Heroes.
is
Yeah. Mhm.
It was a lot of fun. I played that with
Yeah.
our friend David, and it felt very, very punchy and
Neat game.
yeah, it was cool. Really cute.
Yeah, I
game.
got
can't wait.
some great footage that I'm gonna try to edit and post, just like the music video and everything.
Cool.
Angako Overdrive was there. It was always good to see Kent.
I'll see him all weekend at MagFest this weekend.
Yeah. It was cool, and yeah, that game Throwback looks dope. There was like a choose your own adventure dating sim narrative game there as well. that I'm skipping.
Yeah,
It has like this really long name. It was like
couldn't
I went
remember
to
it right
a
now.
Halloween party and the cool kids
Yes.
are trying to kidnap my brother and
That's
try to
awesome.
sacrifice
Sacrifice my brother,
Or
yes. Oh, I
something.
love
Yeah.
Which
But,
reminds me too, we've got quite a few extra keys in our Discord chat. You guys have some games to review.
Oh my gosh, we do.
Ooh,
Yes, we do.
okay.
I have the people that made record have another game for you.
Oh, dude,
Raph.
throw that shit
Yeah.
my way. I would love to
I
play
will.
it. Yeah.
I threw another one in the chat last week called like
Yeah.
Brave or something like that. I forget
Yes,
the
you
name.
did.
Oh, yeah, we got
Yeah,
I gotta
it's
look
like
through those.
a roguelike thing. Okay, cool. Well, hey, listen. That does it for another episode of the Game Treasure Podcast. You've made it, listener. You've made it to the end again. Congratulations if you're here. Do us a huge favor, like and subscribe. If you are just listening to this, by the way, why don't you head on over to our YouTube so you can watch our live streams every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Really more. It's been Wednesday waiting on Caitlin to come back. Saturday, I had to work last Saturday, so I missed that. Saturday before that, I was playing golf for the Game Boy, and that was fun.
That was
There were
awesome.
people in the chat that were like Game Boy golf heads. Like, because you obviously have to categorize yourself in Twitch, and like someone like that was clearly well versed in golf was like in there like giving me
That was fun to watch
club
too.
tips. That was
Yeah.
really dope. So make sure to check that out. You can reach us via email with any questions, comments, or games you want us to play at gametreasurepodcast@gmail.com. Head over to our merch store so you can buy a awesome mug or t-shirt with the King of Video Games on it. We have a choose your host design that's reminiscent of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles select your character screen. You've got this amazing King of Video Games shirt, design done by Raph. That's in reference to the RPG episode where the King of Video Games says, "Have you ever wanted to not be yourself?" And then there's also just a shirt that is just an amazing JPEG of the King of Video Games just on it.
You can also get that in mug form, and it's
fucking
beautiful.
incredible. You can and finally, and most importantly, you go over to our Patreon at patreon.com/TGTP. Subscribe and you will gain access to our exclusive content. Right now we have our UFO 50 deep dive episode up there. It is an hour and 40-minute long deep dive into the first 10 games, chronologically speaking, of UFO 50.
Yeah.
And it's only $5 to listen to. And then we're going to have next episode up by next month at the very latest.
Yeah.
You can find links to all of that stuff. Ow, I just hit my hand. You can find links to all of that stuff and more at our Linktree at Linktree/TheGTP. That's Linktree/TheGTP. The letters.
It's pretty good. Pretty easy.
We want to thank Crunkwitch for the use of our theme song, Clash of the Droids. You can find their music on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere you can find music on the internet. And, of course, we would like to thank RetroGameTreasure.com, owned and operated by my brother, the Megabuck. Retro Game Treasure is a subscription service that takes the hassle out of collecting retro video games. No more hunting, no more guessing, and no more wasted time. Instead, you simply tell Retro Game Treasure what kind of games you want to collect, and then those games come to you every month. That's right. Your custom box is filled with games according to your taste to fill out your collection. How could they possibly do that? Retro Game Treasure keeps tracks of your games so they never get a repeat game, and they only give you games for the consoles that you have. That's how. Want to start collecting a new console? That's no problem. Head on over to their console shop page, where whether you're a member or not, you can get great deals on new and refurbished consoles and accessories. Start collecting games the easy way today with RetroGameTreasure.com. That's www.retrogametreasure.com. Buck, hit me with this week's new subscribers, please.
This week, we welcome Robert Velasco, Christian Reed, Michael Aurelano, Patrick Rose, Matthew Johnson, James Dahlquist, and Ross Hoffman.
Thank you guys so much for subscribing. Until next week, my name is Max Stein, and I love the Game Treasure Podcast. It's so bad.
It's so bad.